Shanghai, located on the eastern coast of China, has a rich historical background and has undergone significant changes over the years. In the early 19th century, Shanghai emerged as a major trading port, attracting international influence and becoming a hub for commerce and finance. During the 20th century, the city experienced turbulent periods, including foreign occupation, political upheavals, and economic transformations. Since the late 20th century, Shanghai has undergone rapid urbanization and development, becoming a global financial center and a symbol of China's economic growth. How did Shanghai become so strong nowadays? And what will be Shanghai like in 30 years? We will look into 4 aspects to talk about this: metro system, traffic congestions, urbanization and infrastructures, and finally the education. When we comes to the metro in Shanghai, almost all of us know that the metro system there are excellent. But how good are they? We are going to look into 4 aspects to talk about this. The first one is the annual ridership. The second is look into its length. And then comes to the number of lines and stations it has. The annual ridership in Shanghai is more than 2,800 million in 2020, which is the number 1 in the world. However, during the peak hours, it causes a lot of issues to citizens taking the train. Here is an video showing the troubles incurred. We can see here that this metro takes a lot of people to this station. However, less people arriving than people waiting, causing some of them even have to wait for another underground. This type of problem is because the line is the only one that people in this area can take to go to work. Next, we are going to look into the Shanghai metro system length, which is about 800. We can see the metro lines shown in the picture are very dense and compact. It ranks at 2nd in the world, close behind the first one, Beijing subway. Number of metro lines is 19 in Shanghai, which is not comparatively large compared to ones in Beijing and New York City, but it is still ranked 3rd in the world, and it is continually increasing. Regarding to the number of underground stations, Shanghai has nearly 400 stations, which could mean that a lot of areas are connected by the metro lines. Now we know that the annual ridership of Shanghai Metro is the number 1 in the world. Underground system length is the number 2. It also has 3rd number of lines and 2nd number of stations in the world. So the metro system in Shanghai is globally perfect. Now the question is, how does it be so excellent? Let's look into its development. 10 years ago, the metro line system was like this. It had only around 10 lines, and most of the suburban areas are not connected by the metro, showing the inconvenience to those people living far from the city center. 10 years later, this problem has been addressed. The number of underground lines has increased to nearly 20, connecting suburbs to the city center. It shortens the commuting time for citizens living in the countryside. 30 years after, in 2054, the metro system will be further developed not only in the city center, but also in the suburbs. Additionally, more and more train lines are able to connect to the neighbor cities, such as Suzhou and Hangzhou. At that time, the city will more likely be this, with a lot of skyscrapers and highways crossing among them. The metro system not only has its underground part, easily connecting all the buildings, but it also has its upper part, where people can see the city views of Shanghai. Moreover, the metro can run either on the elevated railways, or on the road directly via the railways on the ground, where the metros and the cars can travel together. Citizens in Shanghai should much appreciate this metro system. As an international city, with a population of 26 million and more, traffic issue is very serious throughout the city. Here is the most crowded elevated road in the middle of the city, from the north to the south of the city center. High-rise buildings were built intensively in both sides of this road. Millions of people have to go through this road to go to work in the morning and go back home in the evening, either by car or bus. This leads to millions of cars traveling on this road, causing the traffic jams. Fortunately, traffic jams should not be a problem in 2054. Elevated road and highways will be constructed everywhere in the city. It will connect every corner of the city, meaning that citizens can have more choice to go where they would like to go. Additionally, automated buses with more seats will be the main transportation on the road to transfer people from one place to the other in an easier and faster way. It will further decrease the number of private cars traveling on road and the commuting time of workers. The urbanization development has been done so fast in Shanghai. 20 years earlier, there are all old buildings in the city center. But nowadays, all these areas were constructed by high-rise skyscrapers. At night, all these buildings brighten their light. It shows a fantastic night view of Shanghai, attracting more and more travelers to voyage here. Moreover, the brilliant light show also demonstrate to other countries the technological as well as the economic development of China. The bridges and the tunnels across the Huangpu River and complicated but convenient road system in the city bring citizens to wherever they want. However, citizens are still complaining about the infrastructures of the cities. For examples, the city has too less green and too much light, etc. All complaints will be perfectly solved, giving citizens a wonderful city. Shanghai will become a green city at the time 30 years after. Green will be covered everywhere in the city, such as besides the road, on the roof of the buildings, in the rivers, and the light in the night will be diminished to as less as possible. All the people would enjoy living in this city, where has no air pollutions and no light pollutions. This is the city that will give them a better quality of living. Education is an essential part in the city of Shanghai. In school, students actively engage in the class and cooperatively do experiments with their classmates. They also play with each other on the playground during the break between the classes. And the school will conduct the sports events every year to let students compete with each other. Not only teenagers go to school in Shanghai, the elderly also can learn what they want to learn. Governments spend an increasing amount of money to education each year, up to around 112 RMB, which is equal to $15,000. But the education system is still highly competitive. Here shows the percentage of junior high school students who enter different levels of high schools. The top is the best for high schools in Shanghai, where only 1.7% of students enter. The lower band is the best high schools in terms of the city level, containing 23%. After this is the specialized high schools, where education quality is a bit lower than the upper one, and it has 28%. Then regarding the district level, about half of the students can enter. Remaining are the students going to other normal high schools, where could hardly enter universities after 3 years of high school. There are overall only 64% of junior high school students who can enter high schools, showing a highly competitive education system in Shanghai. In the future, be benefited more fundings from the government. The number of schools, as well as the number of qualified teachers assigned, are enough to teach every child and teenager in the city. Besides from this, internal facilities regarding to learning and sports will also to be the maximum quality to our future generations. Shanghai in 2054 will be a highly realistic city compared to now. At that time, the city will be perfectly clean. With the metro lines, citizens can go everywhere in the city, either under or on the ground. Education to younger generation should not be a problem because all of them will have equal education quality. We are looking forward to waiting for this city coming.